The sun was already high in the sky when I pulled up in my old pickup truck, the bed rattling with tools and supplies. I'd been cleaning pools for the last 6 months, a job I stumbled into after leaving community college to help out my mom. She'd been sick and I had to make ends meet somehow. Pool cleaning wasn't glamorous, but it paid decently and gave me time to think about what I really wanted to do with my life. That morning, my job led me to the house on Maple Ridge Lane, a quiet, upscale neighborhood lined with neatly manicured lawns and large homes tucked behind gates. The house at number 322 caught my attention. It was modern, elegant, with large glass windows and a sprawling backyard visible from the side gate. My client's name was Vanessa Carter. I had seen the name on the work order, but I hadn't met her before. I unloaded my gear and let myself into the backyard, which was a peaceful oasis: stone patio, tall hedges, white wicker furniture, and a crystal-clear pool. I walked up to the edge, took a quick look at the water, and started doing my usual routine. I was halfway through brushing the tile line when I heard the sliding door open. Turning around, I saw her step out, a woman in her early 40s, tall, elegant, and wearing a wide-brimmed sun hat with large black sunglasses. She wore a long white robe and held a glass of iced tea. "You must be Brian," she said with a warm smile. "Yes, I'm with River Clean Pools," I replied, nodding politely. She chuckled and took a sip of her drink. "Call me Vanessa. No need form. Makes me feel older than I want to admit." I smiled back and went back to scrubbing, trying not to be distracted by her presence. She sat nearby under the umbrella, occasionally glancing up from a book she was pretending to read. After about 20 minutes, I moved to the other end of the pool, and that's when I heard her voice again, low, almost teasing. "You know," she said, "you're making it hard for me to be good." I paused, unsure if I heard her correctly. I turned, and she was smiling playfully, her sunglasses down on her nose, eyes watching me carefully. "I meant," she continued with a light laugh, "I've been trying to focus on my book, but your dedication to your work is distracting." I chuckled nervously, brushing a bit harder than I needed to. "Well, I try to do a thorough job," I said. "Good work ethic and all." She nodded approvingly. "It shows." The next week, I returned. Vanessa was already outside this time, wearing a sleeveless summer dress, sipping on lemonade, and tapping something on her tablet. She greeted me like an old friend. The easy conversation flowed, and I found myself looking forward to my visits to her house. She would ask questions about my life, my goals, and my family. I told her about my mom, my little sister who was in high school, and how I'd taken time off school to support them. She listened with genuine interest, offering words of encouragement. Week after week, our talks deepened. She told me about her divorce, amicable, she said, but lonely. Her ex-husband was a workaholic who had moved to another state. Her 2 kids were away in college. She had the house to herself, and though she enjoyed the peace, she sometimes felt the weight of solitude. I started staying a little longer after each job, making sure the water was just right, checking the filters twice, offering to carry bags of salt or new equipment if she needed it. She always offered me a cold drink, and sometimes lunch. Once, she even brought out a sandwich and chips, saying, "You've worked hard enough. Sit for a bit." There was a strange comfort between us. I wasn't sure what to call it: friendship, flirtation, a harmless connection between 2 people from very different worlds. One afternoon, after I finished vacuuming the pool, she came out in a blue blouse and denim shorts, her hair down in soft waves. She held out a glass of iced coffee. "You've got to be sweating out here. You deserve this," she said. I took it with a smile. "Thanks, Vanessa. That's really kind of you." She leaned on the patio railing and looked at me. "You're different from most people I meet," she said softly. "Honest, gentle, real." I didn't know what to say to that. Compliments like that didn't come my way often. "I just try to be respectful," I mumbled. She stepped a little closer. "You don't have to try. It's just who you are, isn't it?" Her eyes held mine for a moment longer than expected. Then she smiled and turned back toward the house. "I'll let you finish up. Don't let me distract you too much." The next week was different. When I arrived, she wasn't outside. I started working as usual when I heard her call out from the second-floor balcony. "Brian, I'll be down in a minute. Just finishing a call." I waved up at her and went back to skimming the pool. She came down a few minutes later, dressed in workout clothes, fresh from a yoga session. She walked barefoot across the stone patio, her mat rolled under one arm. "I needed that," she sighed, stretching. "Clears the mind." I asked if she wanted the usual routine or if anything needed special attention. She told me everything was fine, but then paused and said, "Actually, I was wondering, do you know how to check the pool heater? It's been acting up." I said I could take a look. She led me to the equipment shed and showed me the unit. It wasn't a hard fix, just a sensor issue. I crouched down to make the adjustment while she stood nearby. As I tightened a valve, I heard her step closer. "You really are good with your hands," she said quietly. I stood up, wiping my hands on a rag. "I've had to learn. Comes with the job." Her expression softened, and she touched my shoulder lightly. "You've got more than just skills, Brian. You've got heart." I felt my face warm, unsure how to respond. I didn't want to misread anything or do something inappropriate. She seemed to sense that, because she smiled and stepped back. "Sorry, I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable." "You didn't," I said quickly. "I just don't always know what to say." She nodded. "You don't have to say anything." After that day, I started thinking about her more. Not just as a client, but as someone who really saw me. Not just the guy cleaning her pool, but someone trying to do right by his family, someone trying to figure out life. One Friday afternoon, she asked if I had any plans for the weekend. I said no, just chores and helping my mom. She hesitated, then said, "I'm hosting a small brunch on Sunday. A few neighbors, nothing fancy. You're welcome to come by, off the clock, of course." I was surprised, but I said yes. Sunday came, and I showed up wearing the best button-down shirt I had. She looked stunning in a soft green dress and gold jewelry that shimmered in the morning sun. There were a few guests, her friends from the community, but she stayed close to me most of the time, introducing me as Brian, the kindest guy I know. When the guests left, she offered me another iced tea. We sat near the pool, and she told me stories about her past, funny ones, sad ones. I listened, asked questions, and felt like I belonged in her world, if only for that afternoon. As I got up to leave, she walked me to the gate. "Thank you for coming," she said. It meant a lot. I looked at her, wondering what this all meant. "I appreciate you inviting me," I said. She tilted her head, studying me. "You always make it easier for me to smile. Even when I don't think I can." I nodded, not trusting myself to say more. But as I opened the gate, she leaned forward and kissed my cheek.